Hi everybody. This video is going to be about how to determine invariances between row forms. Okay, first step is to find multiple examples of a particular set class in the row. So I've already bracketed the four non-overlapping trichords in this row. And if you were going to put them into prime form, you'd find out that they are all O14s. So that means that we're going to have lots of opportunities for invariances here. Now, step 2, we're going to figure out how to map all of these O14 sets onto each other. Before doing that though, you'll want to put them all in normal order. So pause the video real quick and put all four of these into normal order. Great. Now that you have these in normal order, let's figure out how we can map them onto each other. And there are various ways I could do this. I have lots of options here. Just for the sake of the first one, let's do it like this. Let's see how do we map the first one onto the last one? And how do we map the middle two? So basically try to map this onto this and this onto this. If you take a moment and try that out, you'll see that I can map this onto this by T1I. See how they're inversions of each other and how they sum to 1. So T1I. Then if I take a look at these two middle ones, I see it's the exact same thing actually. 5 and 8, 11 and 2, 0 and 1. It's also T1I. All right, that's interesting. Let's see what's going to happen when we apply this. So next step is to take our answer, which is T1I in this case, and apply it to our row and get a new row form. Now for this I'm going to erase my normal orders so it doesn't get too cluttered. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now take P4, my original row, and I'm going to apply T1I. What does that mean? What row am I going to get? Well, since I have a P row and I'm going to do inversion, that means it's going to be some sort of I row. And remember, if it is a 1 here, if it's the inversion, that means that that is the sum. So basically I need to think about what would sum with 4 to 1. Now, what would sum with 4 to get me 1? Well, the answer would be 9. All right, so next step then, let's go ahead and write out I9. So I'm going to do a little cleaner. And let's see what happens. So this is basically the last step. Once you're going to apply this, write this out, and let's see what happens. So again, I'm going to be creating sums of 1. Okay, let me check real quick that I didn't make any mistakes. Okay, this looks correct. So look what happens here. When I apply this, you'll see that the content of this moves over here and this over here. We get a switching of those two segments. And then in the middle, we get a switching of these two. So basically, this is usually what happens. In fact, it's always what happens when the transformation is inversion. The ideas are the little segments are going to switch places in the row. Okay, so that's the first example. Okay, let me erase this now, and I'm going to try another possibility. Okay, now that we've tried out that first option, I'm going to give us another one to practice on. This is the exact same row, so it's still all O14s. Let's just try some other mappings. This time what I want to do is map this onto this, and this onto this. Remember, they're all O14s, so I can try out all of these different options. Now, you already have the normal orders written down, so take a moment and see if you can figure out what the transposition or inversion is for these particular mappings. Okay, so let's see what we're going to get. If I go from this to this, that looks to me like T10. You would see that much easier on the normal order. And then if I go from here to here, once again, it looks like T10. This is one of the interesting things a lot of times with the rows like this, is that oftentimes you'll find the exact same answer occurring with different of the trichords. So what do we do next? We go ahead and we apply T10 to our row. And this one's a little bit easier. T10 of P4 is going to be P2. So what we're going to do now is we're going to apply T10 to every note here. We're just going to, well, no, we're basically going to write out P2. Let's see what happens. Okay, let's look what happens here. Now, as you'll see, it's a little bit different with transposition. So again, I had you do this one to this one, and this one to this one. What's going to happen in that case is whatever was over here is going to appear at the spot where you were trying to originally map. So this content goes over here, and this content here goes right there. It's not the same thing in terms of the switching of the trichords. Here, it moves in a slightly more limited direction, and you don't get quite as many invariances. Okay. So to review what we learned in this particular video, number one, locate multiple examples of a particular set class. Number two, figure out how those set classes map onto each other in the row. 3, apply that answer to the row, getting a new row form. And finally, write out the new row form, and you will see how the invariances work.